Of their attacker, they saw nothing. Despite fatigue and tension, the operator of the passive sensor arrays barely blinked as they hunched over their consoles. What remained of the science crew analysed the readings taken from the missiles. Crow didn't expect their analysis to yield any immediate results, but it didn't hurt to try. 2¼ hours after the attack, Crow felt his bridge start to relax. Everyone was still razor sharp, but the atmosphere of fear was beginning to lift. The navigator was starting to make the necessary calculations to work out the most efficient course back to Baden base. The air on the bridge was getting fairly stale as the recyclers operated at minimum power. With the centrifuge only freewheeling, gravity had dropped to about half Earth normal. Crow and Berg had been stood at the back of the bridge, quietly discussing damage control priorities. But now Crow stood silently, staring down his bridge, listening to the hum of equipment and sounds of his crew, committing it all to memory. For years this had been his bridge. For years he'd pushed back the borders of space. He'd seen good times here, but those days were over now. To hope otherwise would be a lie. "How the hell am I going to explain this one to HQ, Commander?" he asked quietly. "You followed the rules of engagement to the letter, sir. They can't fault you for that," she replied. "You can always be faulted, Commander. There are elements of the Council that have never wanted Battlefleet ships on exploration duty. They feared that a trigger-happy soldier would start another war. This will play right into the hands of those elements. They didn't communicate with us, sir. Whoever they are, they just fired. It's not much of a stretch to say they would have shot at a science directorate or national ship. We must have missed something, Carol. We must have. People don't fire without a reason. Humans sometimes do, Skipper. Aliens? Who knows?" Berg replied with a shrug, then grimaced as her wounded arm objected. Crow didn't respond. Instead he continued to stare down the bridge. "What are you thinking, sir?" "I'm wondering what the hell to tell the families. 12 people are dead and I have no idea why." Crow shook his head and added flatly, "Someone will have to be held responsible. You've been a good first officer, Carol. I'll do my best to ensure this doesn't hurt your career." Berg seemed shocked at the despair in her captain's voice and unsure how to respond. Then there was a sudden beep from the passive sensor array console. "Contact bearing 207-264, the petty officer shouted out. "It's coming out of our blind spot." "Is it a missile?" Crow asked sharply. "The system doesn't think so, sir. Profile doesn't match that of the first two. The contact is decelerating. I'm reading a much larger engine burn but a much shallower acceleration curve. I can't be sure, sir, but I think it's a ship. We thought the first one was a ship, PO. Bring up the projected track on the main display," Crow ordered. With the first beep from the sensors, he had suddenly felt adrenaline fizz through his veins, blowing through his despair. It would return, but for the moment it was sidelined.